if you have finished this particular course, nothing like it. There is a certification program too. Just type in Python here, and in the content type, select certification. Can you all see this Python Foundation certification? So this certification program, you can take it up, which will certify, you can certify yourself saying that you know at least 50% of Python concepts, basic Python concepts. So post the completion of basics of Python, which is a prerequisite for this particular certification, you can complete this certifications. I did see that a couple of participants have completed the course as well, basics of Python. So you can take up this particular certification program post the completion of that prerequisite. And once again, a very good morning to all the participants. I have my ACE educator here, Sonam Agar. Thank you for accepting our invitation and supporting the Infosys Springboard for Har Shakti program. Welcome, Sonam. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Prithvi. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so just a brief introduction. We had a couple of participants who had taken part in the phase one as well, which was on design thinking, agile methodology, and AI. In AI, they had studied a little bit on data science as well. There was a course called as Introduction to Data Science, which was a small prerequisite course. So most of them are, I believe, they are aware of that term and what exactly it is all about. So, and this phase will be more of with respect to data science using Python programming language. So before you could join in, I have given them the brief as to why did we choose this particular data science using Python programming language as well. And we had shared the basic courses that is with respect to Python as well. So most of them, I'm sure they have completed the pre-content learning and then joined this particular session. So thanks once again. I'll quickly introduce Sonam Garg to all of you. She is a senior analyst at ETA, Education Training and Assessment. She is one of the ACE trainer here, a passionate educator and enthusiastic learner. And she trains the corporate as well here at Infosys. And she has a key interest in Java and data science and AI. So thanks again and welcome, Sonam. Over to you for the session for today.
Hi, once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Prithvi. So I could understand that these sessions, series of sessions would be with respect to data science, and most of you have already completed prerequisite courses like Introduction to Data Science. Have you all completed it? Okay, good to see that people saying yes. And what about basics of Python? Basics of Python also, you people have completed? See, artificial intelligence, data science, data analysis, all these terms are in fancy these days. So it's good to hear all these terms, but the fundamentals of AI, fundamentals of machine learning, fundamentals of data science is nothing but programming. It all comes from programming. So a little knowledge of programming is equally required. We are going to cover data science using Python. So we'll talk about Python. We'll have codes. We implement data analysis and stuff using Python. So a little knowledge of Python is required, and that is why we are again and again asking whether you have completed basics of Python and you have that precursor knowledge, so that you are not haunted when you go directly jump onto the course. If I say you directly go to exploratory data analysis, there you will see codes, Python codes. So basic knowledge of Python is required. I'm not saying you should be an expert in Python, but yes, definitely basic knowledge is required. If you have completed the basic course, well and good. If not, today also in today's session, is about introduction to Python. We'll cover some basics, some advanced concepts so that you get a fair idea of how to get started. So if you have completed this course as well, then also consider it as a revision. From point of view, you can take it in the this week which you are getting. So you will have to complete this course all by yourself. You'll go module by module. You can go through this course which we'll be discussing today. I think basics of Python is, I think Prathidi have already completed. Today's course is Introduction to Python. So this course you will have to complete by the end of this week, by the time we meet next. So this course also should be complete. So today we'll see what is there in Introduction to Python. Okay, that's great. Some people are saying they have already completed Introduction to Python. So if you have gone through that course, please take some time out. Look at all the assignments which are there in that course. Try to complete that. There's an assessment at the end of the course that also. Please make sure that you complete each and every assessment. So I hope you have access to Springboard. I'll share my screen and take you to the course so that you can have a idea what I'm talking about. Okay, let me share my screen. This is the course which I'm talking about. So it says Introduction to Python. You can search it yourself. You can put it in the search bar here, write Introduction to Python. It will land you up here. It's a course in the self-learning pace. You can go module by module. Okay, people are saying it's tough. See, this is actually looking tough because it touches all the concepts. In details, it might not have been explained. It is just for the revision purpose. It introduces you to Python so that you have those basic understanding and knowledge. Once you complete, make sure you're doing all the quizzes in between. Make sure you're doing all the assignment. Then you'll get a confidence in this course. So we'll quickly brush up through this course today in the next 1.5 hour, whatever time we have. We'll go through all the components. I'll walk you through all the components, and at later point of time, whenever you have time, then by yourself you can go through it. So see, you need to.
Sorry to interrupt. One of the participants was asking Visual Studio works, right, for this one?
Visual Studio.
Yeah.
You see, any ID you can use. You can use Visual Studio also, but otherwise we do have a playground also in this course. That also can be used to implement the code whichever is there in this. That would be better if you use, or you can install any Python version greater than 3, or you can go for Jupyter Lab also. I'm using Jupyter Lab. That also can be done. Any ID you can use for execution. That is not a problem. All right, so I'll not talk much about why Python because we all know Python is actually very easy, one of the easiest language to understand, to code. So that is why people, the whole community, the coder community has moved now from the languages, from the earlier languages like C, C++, Java to Python because it's easier to code in this, in the Python language. So some of the basic things which you know before we move on to the advanced concepts is what are identifiers, variables, data types. So looping, you should be aware about selection control statements, type conversion, and all these things. So we'll walk through all these components once so that you get to revise. Okay. We'll start with identifiers here. So, you know, we take variables here. We do have variables in programming language. Like if I have to find area of rectangle, then I need some variables to store my values. I need a variable to store length, so that becomes my variable to store breadth, then a variable area to store the area, calculate area and store it in the area. So those are variables, or we call them as identifiers. Name given to that variable is identifiers. Then we have keywords in programming, predefined words which have some specific meaning, which cannot be used for identifiers or for the variables. They are called keywords. Keywords like else, if, for, break, continue, they have a predefined meaning. You cannot go and declare a variable named as break. You cannot go and declare a variable named as else. Okay, so because they have a predefined meaning in programming languages. So every programming languages have their own reserved words, which are called keywords. So these are tokens. These are smallest elements of any programming languages. Any code which you write in Python will be made up of these things: identifiers, keywords, or the operators. So how do you declare a variable? Let's see first. So here in Python, Python is dynamically typed language. You need not specify the data type here. I hope you understand what are data types. Type of data. Let's say I have some value to be stored. Value is let's say weight. I want to store weight which is equal to 10. So you can directly go in Python and write weight is equal to 10. You do not need to write int weight is equal to 10 or double weight is equal to 10 as you do in C or Java. They are strongly typed languages. There you need to specify data type. Here it is not required. Dynamically it will understand when you have initialized 10 that it is integer. If you change it, you make it 10.56, it will convert it to double. So it's a dynamically typed language. But still we need to understand what are data types, what all data types are possible in Python. So here's a list of it. Numeric types, we have integer, that is int for storing integer values. If you have big values like phone number, Aadhaar card number, they are big numbers. So they cannot be stored in int. There's a limitation of int. So if you have big numbers like Aadhaar card and mobile number, we can take it as long. Same rule as Java if people know any of the programming language. If you have real-time values like your height, weight, which is in points, so that can be stored in float or double. Float will have a little lesser precision and double will have a little higher one. Alphanumeric values, if you have, which are made up of characters, numbers, and all, for that we can take string. Generally, we prefer taking strings. If you have to store only one character, that can go as a char data type. Char will hold only one character, either it is any character or a digit or a special character that goes as a char value. So if I write a is okay, let me write it. See, if I write a variable a is equal to c. So this I'm declaring a variable c and assigning it to a. So this is a character. So it will take it as char a, not a string a. All right. If you want to take input from the user at runtime, that can be done using this input function. So we can go and write input in the bracket. We can specify the prompt. Any editor you can use, Divya, anywhere where you can run Python is okay. So we can say this is a prompt what you write, any statement you write here, enter your number, enter the length. So that has to go here input and you can take print that value to see what you have entered. Input function allows you to do that. Print function allows you to print that value. So that has to go in brackets. Please remember it cannot go without brackets. So here are a few examples you can see. We have declared a as infi, B as 20.127, C as 10. We have not specified any data type. Automatically, it will be considered. You can check the type, data type by using the type function. Type function can be used to check that. Okay, coming back to this, when we write print ABC, it will print the values of variables A, B, C. So infi 20.127, C is equal to 10. In one line, it will print. ABC separator. Now you have specified that I need a separator for these three. In between A, B, I need a separator that is colon. So here you can see the difference in the output. So separator is used here. Colon is used as separator here. You can try all these things. These are very simple ones. You just copy paste this code. See, whatever code you see in black can be copied using this. You have a copy button here. You can copy this code, put it in the editor, run it and check the output. I'm not showing you the very simple ones because they are super easy. You can do these directly also. Now coming on to the next token, components of Python programming languages are operators. So operators in every programming languages, there are three types of operators: arithmetic, relational, and logical operators. So arithmetic operators are plus, minus asterisk for multiplication, slash for divide, percentile for modulus. And here in Python, we have double backslash, which is for integer division. So if you write 5 plus 6 will give you 11, 5 minus 6 will give you minus 1, 5 asterisk 6 will give you 5, 6 are 30, 5 divided by 6 or 5 divided by 6 will give you 0 point something. So here there's a difference. From other programming languages, when we use a single division operator, it does not give you integer division, it gives you exact division. So if I write 11 by 2, it gives me 5.5. Okay, now if you want to go for integer division, then you can use double slashes like here. This example. So if you write 11 double slash 2, it gives you integer division. Okay. Now, if you want to go for remainder, you want to find remainder, then you can go for percentile. This is called modulo operator. Modulus operator can be used. So 11 percentile 2 will give you the remainder. That is 1. Now, when you do 9 percentile 11, so how is it calculated? I hope you are comfortable with this. 9 percentile 11. 11 zeros are 0, remainder 9. So it gives you 9. Now, coming to the next set of operators, which is relational operators. Relational operators are used to compare between two things, two expressions. So if I want to compare whether two numbers are same, whether two expressions are same or different, or one is greater than another, then we have to go for relational operators. Relational operators return either true or false. So if you want to compare whether two values are equal, so you can say A equal to B. Double equal to has to be used for checking equality. Then okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, I'm back now. So double equal to is used for equality. Check if you want to check something is not equal to B, then you can go for not equal to operator, which is exclamation mark equal to can be used for not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to symbols. We all know what they mean. Now, assignments operator is equal to. Equal to is used for assignment. When we write num equal to 5, it means we are assigning value 5 to num. Now, we do have shorthand operators. Shorthand operators, okay, here we have an example. Instead of writing num is equal to num plus 1, we can go and write num plus equal to 1. So these are shorthand operators. So they are falling under the assignment operators. They are made up of arithmetic operators only, but to simplify the expression, see here it doesn't matter when we write num is equal to num plus 1. You will ask, I could have written this way also. Why should I go for this one? But sometimes we have big variable names. The names identifiers which you use are not as simple as NUM. We do have very big ones. Like if I want to write simple interest is equal to simple interest plus 100. So simple interest is a big word. Similarly, you have very big identifiers. So there it helps when you go for shorthand operator. Now, there's one more thing which is specific in Python when we talk about shorthand operators. These two have different meaning. Num is equal to num plus 1 when you do. So num is one variable. So num plus 1 when you do, it is a separate variable num is created. A different variable is created num and num plus 1 is assigned to that. But when we do num plus is equal to 1, then it means in that same variable we are updating. I'll elaborate more on this. Don't get confused as of now. With example, we'll see what it is. Okay, logical operators are used to combine two or more expressions. So let's say you have to check, I think we have example here, A and B. Okay, so we have two expressions here, you can see. We have num1 greater than 2000. So there are two numbers, two identifiers, and the second expression is num2 greater than 100. Now, how can I combine? If I want results from both of them, I want to check do something if number 1 is greater than 2000 and number 2 is greater than 100. Then only do something. If I want to write that, then I have to club these two expressions and I can put AND operator in between. So AND can be used to do that. So AND is a logical operator which will result true only if both the expressions on the left and right hand sides are true. So if this is true, both are true, then only AND will give you true. Otherwise, if either of them is false, AND will give you false. Coming to OR, so either OR condition, either of them is true, then it is true. Okay, so if left hand side is true, this is false, OR gives you true. Here, this table is already there. We can check from here. So if both the values are true, or will give you true. If one is true, then also you get true. Either of them is true, you get a true. When both are false, then only OR operator gives you false. Okay. So and this both should be true, then only we get true. See, both are true, then only you get true. Or means either of them is true, then in the three cases you get a true. Now, not is used to negate. So not can be used like if I have written num1 greater than 2000. So you can go and write here num1 greater than I have just written 2 here, and so you can go and write not and then write the second expression here. So not is negation of whatever you get from the expression written in the bracket. So it will be negated. True becomes false, false becomes true. Now let's see what is type conversion in Python. Conversion is actually a very important topic to understand. So here let's have two variables. Num1 is a number 10. Num2 is a num2 is 20. Is it a number? Guys, is this a number? What is num2? String. Correct. Num2 is a string because it is enclosed in double quotes. Correct. Now we are trying to add 10 plus 20. 10 plus 20 I'm trying to do. It will raise an error. It will give you an error because it will say you cannot add integer to a string. So what should I do? I have to convert this string value to integer and then add it. See why this is important. I'll give you a use case. Let's say you're filling forms. When we deploy an application, at that time, when you fill forms, you enter your values in the form of strings. Those values are taken when you insert your phone number, when it asks your age. All those things are inserted into the form of a string. So at the back end, if they have to process your age and check whether your age is greater than 18, whether they have to check whether your phone number is valid or not. So do all those processing. The phone number which you have provided in the form in the format of a string has to be converted to integer and then used. Okay, so concatenation can be applied here, but integer plus string, no, it is not. Here in Python, it cannot do. Java, if you write, then it can do, but for that also you have to go for string plus integer, not integer plus string. Okay, so here you have to convert the string 20 to integer. How can we do that? By explicitly we have to typecast it. So we call it explicit type conversion, which is called explicit typecasting. Okay, so how can we do that? We just have to enclose this num2 in bracket, and outside we have to provide int. This is the way you can note. Instead of writing num1 plus num2, now num2 convert, first of all, convert num2 to integer and then add it to num1. Then it gives you the correct answer. So this is explicit typecasting. But now see here what happens in explicit typecasting. If I have 20.0 here, 20, let's say my number was 20.56. Okay, and I'm going to do 10 plus 20.56. But here I went and I wrote here now 10 plus 20.56, but I've converted it to integer, so there will be a data loss. 20.56 will be converted to int, and then it will be added. So again, it will give you 20 plus 10, 30. So we have to be careful when we do explicit typecasting. What we are doing, we should know. Implicit typecasting is implicit. If I am adding 10 plus 20.56, like if I'm directly writing do 10 plus 20.56. Now one number is integer, one number is double or float. So, but two data types are different. Still, I'm trying to add them. It will add and give you 30.56 because there was an implicit typecasting, implicit conversion of 10 to double value. So, it will convert the lower identifier to the bigger one, lower data type to the bigger one, and then give you 30.56 instead of converting bigger to lower. So, for bigger to lower conversions, we have to do it explicitly. That is explicit typecasting. How can you write comments? There are three ways of writing comments. If you have single line comments, comments improves the readability of your code. So here, let's say this is some code. I want to provide a comment to it, what this code is doing, what this line is doing. For that, single line comments can be added using hash. So it can be done like this, or after your code also, here also, it can be written. Single line comment. If you have multi-line comments, then we have two ways. Either you go for three single colons, then your commented lines, and then again close these three single quotes, or you can go for three double quotes. So whatever you write within these will be considered as comments for multi-line comments. Quiz, you can take it up yourself, or we'll take it up later if we have time. I'll come back to this. Now, see, these were the basic things which we should know when we go for programming. Now, coming on to the core part of programming, which is selection statements and iteration statements. So there are three control structures. How the program control flows in your when you write certain logic, when you write certain code. What are three different ways in which your program logic flows? One is sequential, that is one after the another. So your control of your program flows one after the another. If you have 10 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. That is sequential control, nothing to understand in that. Main two constructs are selection statements and iteration statements. Now, if you do not want your control to be sequential, you want to do some jumps. So if you want to test a condition and then based on the condition results, you want to jump onto a specific piece of code, that can be done using selection statements. Selection statements we can write using if else condition. So we can check the condition in if block. If that condition is true, then do something else, we'll do something else. Okay, so if you have to check whether a number is greater than 0, how can we do that? Declare a number, assign a number, and then check. If in the bracket you have to do, if a is greater than 0, and then this is required here, colon, when you click enter, it will give, automatically it will give these gaps, it will indent, and then you can print whatever you want. So the action you want to take if the number is greater than 0 can be written here. It can have more than one lines also. One line, more than one line. So you keep on writing multiple lines here. That can be done. So it is used for checking the condition. If this condition is true, so it evaluates to true. So a greater than 0, it checks. 10 is greater than 0, true. If true, then print positive integer. This is how it is processing. So we discussed that this is a relational operator, and relational operators results in true false. So a greater than 0 should result in a true or false. So it will give you true in this case. And then we are checking if true, print positive integer. Now, if we have, see, this if is dangling, we should avoid writing if statements like this. If statements should be followed by else statement. What if this number is not greater than 0? What if I supply a negative number? By mistake, people can do, at runtime, people can do. So your program should be good enough to check, to cater to all the possible situations. So for that, it's a good programming practice to add else after if. So it should be like this. In the previous example also, else should have been supplied. Just for the understanding, it was explained if condition do this, else what to do. Else print error statement you can do. If you don't want to do anything explicitly, print error statement there. So that can be done in the else block. Let's see example here directly. If a is greater than 0, print positive integer, else colon print not a positive integer. So in our case, a is negative minus 10. It will give you not a positive integer because it is going to else block. I hope you understand how this works. So in our case, A is not greater than 0. So these lines, whatever lines are written after if, will not be executed. Directly we go to else block and come here and work out. Okay, going next. Else if ladder, if you have multiple conditions to be checked. If condition, then we can go for elif. Colon is required because colon will ensure that there are some statements after this statement if. So instead, if you know Java, there when you write if conditions, while or for, there we have to write brackets to ensure that multiple statements belong to this if. So this colon ensures that whatever I write after this will go for, it ensures this block in the if block. Whatever statement 1 to n I have written under elif will go in the elif block. Let's go to the example. I'm checking for whether a number is a positive, negative, or it's a zero number. So if a is greater than zero, positive. Else if, elif, not else if. Here we have elif a is less than zero, then you say it's a negative integer. Otherwise, say it's a zero. So based on your number which you supply here, it will give you the result accordingly. This is the syntax. Indentation is definitely needed. It is actually very important here in Python. In Java, it is not important, but here in Python, it is very important indentation. So now how to write one if inside the another, that we call as a nested if we have a requirement to check condition inside a condition. So that is called nested if else statement. We have to check here which number is greater, which is smaller. So we are checking if number 1 is greater than number 2. So 10 is greater than 20, it checks. So here we are checking if 10 is greater than 20, which is false. 10 is, in our example, 10 is not greater than 20. We'll come here. It checks. Then what we are checking, 20 is greater than 30. False. So we come here and it says number 3 is greater. But what if I would have had here 40? If num1 is 40, how will it work? So it checks 40 is greater than 20, true. Now come inside and then go for another if statement. Again, it checks 40 is greater than 30. 40 is greater than 30, yes. Then print num1 is greater. So it says num1 is greater. It does not go to else block. It does not go to this statement. It does not go to any of these statements after this. So that is why we are using if to select few statements. Execute only the selected statements based on the condition. These are few questions which you can take up later. These exercises you can do. Yes, why not? We can do that, Ati, if you want to see. I was just skipping through all this because these are simple codes and you people have already gone through basics of Python. So I thought you're all aware about all this. Let us execute one or two and then we'll see if you have any doubt. This one, last one, maybe we'll pick up and check. I hope you can see the screen now. I have already copied the code here. Okay, so this is num1. Let us execute. So it says, as expected, it says num3 is greater. We have done, we have taken a dry run also. Now let's play with it. Let's change it to 40. So 40 greater than 20. True. Again, we fall down here and it checks 40 greater than 30. See, here we have ensured 40 is greater than another number 20. But to say that 40 is the highest number, num1 is greatest of all the three numbers, we have to ensure that 40 should be greater than 30 also. There are two ways of doing it. See, I could have written it using AND operator here, and num1 is greater than 30. Then you print num1 is greater. That is another way of another approach of doing this program. But here we are learning what is nested if else statement, how to write that. So that is why it has been done using nesting of statements. So here it falls in check 40 greater than 30, true. So it will print num1 is greater. Let's check for it. So it says num1 is greater. This is Jupyter Lab, okay? I've installed Python and Jupyter Lab and doing the codes here. Actually, I have to switch back again and again. That is why, wait, 1 minute. Are you able to see the Springboard screen? Yes, okay, so we'll keep it this way. Thank you for responding. Okay, then we'll go ahead and this was about control structures using if-else selection statements you can uh, do using if. So these there are three types of ifs. We have seen simply if-else, if-elif ladder. We have based on the requirement you can pick up. Now, how do we iterate? If we have to iterate, let's say there are 50 students in a class, I want to print their names. I cannot keep on writing 50 print statements. I have to, it becomes easy when we have a looping statements and I say for all the 50 students in the class, print their name. It becomes so easy, just a 2-line code for me to do this. Otherwise, I would have written 50 statements, print student 1, print student 2, print student 3. So to avoid that, we do have this option of looping, which we can implement using either a while loop or a for loop here in Python. So uh, while loop can be used when we do not know the number of iterations. What do we mean by that? Assume that there's a supermarket store. Now there's a day they open their application. They do not know how many customers will land up to their site or application today, which is not known. There might be 5, there might be 50 customers today. So that number is not known, either 5 or 50. So when iterations are not known, then they can go for a while loop. So they can say while the customers are flowing in the store, keep on asking their name, address, phone number, and generate a bill for them. So until the customers are coming, keep on doing this. So that kind of logic can be implemented using while loop. Or let's say I give you a number and I ask you to find number of digits in a number. So that number I will supply you at runtime. Programming logic you have to write and keep. So that has to be compiled and kept ready for the usage. But number you do not know which number I will give you. Either it will be a 3-digit number or a 6-digit number or a 16-digit number. That is not known to you. So those situations we have to use while loop when the number of iterations are not known. How do we write that? Just the syntax part of it. We write while. Here what we are printing is we are iterating through 1 to 5. So the goal is to print numbers 1 to 5. So you have to take an initial number, that is your counter variable, initialize your counter variable to some value. Here we have initialized it to 1 and we have to write a condition. Until my counter is less than equal to something, then we have to print it. So here we are saying while count is less than equal to 5, it keeps on printing the value of count. So how it is happening, let's take a dry run here. Number is equal to 5. It checks 1 is less than equal to 5. 1 is less than equal to 5, correct? So it prints 1. Then we are doing count plus 1 is count plus equal to 1, shorthand operator. So count is incremented to 2. Now again we go here and check. 2 less than equal to 5, correct? Again print 2. Now the current number is 2 and then again increment it. Now count becomes 3 and it keeps on going. See, once you understand the loop, initial 1 or 2 values you see, execute. You take a dry run and check what is the output coming. Then need not execute all. Then you go for the last values. Number is, what will happen if my count becomes 4? Let's check. When my count becomes 4, it checks 4 less than equal to 5, it prints 4. Then my count becomes 5. Again, I planned up here. 5 is less than equal to 5, true. It prints 5, number becomes 6. My count becomes 6. Okay, now it checks 6 less than equal to 5. No. So it does not print, it does not increment the count value. So final value of my counter becomes 6 and the output becomes 6. These things are different. So it's always important to take a trial to ensure that you know what will be the final value of the counter state variable along with the output. Guys, do not worry too much about IDE. We have a playground here. Somewhere in this course itself, you will see playground links. There you can click, it will take you to the playground. You can execute all the codes there itself. You need not install anything for this particular code. Or you can pick up any online Python editor also for now. Now the same thing can be done using for loop also. Uh, at times, for loop and while loop can be used vice versa. So here, this program itself, what you have seen here, this also can be written using for loop, but we are seeing some different examples here. So for loop is used when we know how many iterations are there. I know 5 times, 10 times my loop has to run, then you go for the for loop. So this is one way of doing it. I'll come back to this. First of all, let's see this one. So if I have to print these numbers, all the odd numbers from 1 to 9 I have to print. I am using Jupyter Lab. Yes, we'll go back to the editor again, don't worry. Let's pick up this code and go back to the editor. Are you able to see the editor now? Okay, thank you for responding. Okay, I have copied this code here. So how to print odd numbers from 1 to 9? We have to take some initial value, some starting value. So my goal is to print odd numbers. So starting from 1 till 10, I want to print all the odd numbers. Odd numbers, that is why I can give a step value here. Step value is 2. So plus 2 it will do and generate. What happened to this? Jupyter Lab has to be installed. This is not online version. You have to install it and then use it. Okay, something is off here. I'm not sure why this is print statement is giving some error. Let me pick some other code and check. Okay, let me restart my kernel. I'll restart and check why print is not working. No, no, it has nothing to do with number. It is not taking print.
Sometimes copy paste also does not work.
Can you come again?
Sometimes copy paste, if you copy paste it only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think invalid non-printable. So you want me to write this and then check? Copy paste was a problem. You were right. Okay, so here you can directly do initialize two numbers between a range 1 to 10. You want to print only odd numbers, that can be done. Comma 2 you can write here. So it will do step plus 2 it can do to print this. What if I take it from 2? Let's see. I want you to observe the output and tell me why 10 is not taken. Correct. So when we write in Python, we have to be careful. Whatever we write here, it is not included. It is one less than this number 10. So the range is from 2 to 9. The actual range implementable here is 2 to 9. So it will print 2 plus 2, it gives you 4, 6, 8. Then when it becomes 10, it does not take because it checks less than 10. Should be less than 10. That we have to be very careful when we are writing in Python. So this is one way how we can loop. The other way is directly also it can be checked. If you want to check if a number lies between a list, you have a list and you want to ensure that your number lies within the list. You have to print each value within that list. That can be done directly also, like here. If you come and look at this code, for a number in this list, print that number. So it will print it instead of providing a range function. Range is a function which we have used here. This is a function range which takes three parameters: starting value, end value, and the step value. Otherwise, if you have a small list, that can be supplied directly here. For I in these five numbers, print all those numbers. It can be done directly also. Yes, this is the link for Python Playground. If you are still not able to get it, you can click here. I'm not opening it because I already have Jupyter Lab. So you can click here and it will land you to the screen. So you can try all these options. What will happen if I write 1 to 5? Okay, so these two we have already seen. Now here, negative also we can do. If you want to print it in negative order, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What will be the output of this? Can you guess? Will 0 come? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Will 0 come? No. 0 will not come. Correct. 0 will not come. As we have nested if statements, we can write nested loops also, one loop inside the another. Here we have an example where we have number of passengers in a flight. So there can be more than one passengers in a flight. One passenger can have more than one bag. You might be carrying more than one bags. So every for each and every passenger, each bag should be checked and then it has to go for clearance. Each bag has to go for clearance. So now here, in order to check this, we have to take two loops. For every passenger, check each and every bag. So two loops are required here to execute this. Are you getting this example? So how we can do this for each passenger? Here we are writing, look at this line. Mandatory things are two parameters are necessary, start point and the end point. Step is not required. If you don't write step, it will take plus one. So how do we ensure? We are doing for each passenger. So for passengers in the range 1 to the number of passengers, then what do we have to do? We have to check each and every bags. So let's say for now we have fixed these values. There are 5 passengers in the flight and each of them have 2 bags. For now we have fixed, but in actual scenario, these numbers can differ. Their security check, initially it is true. Now, for each passenger, check their first bag. If the security check is true, then print security check of passenger one, baggage has been cleared. Print, do something. If it is, you can provide, you can supply your checking logic also here. So check if you have some conditions on bag. If the bag is red in color, passed. If not, not passed. Something, any of your business logic can be implemented inside this part here. Else you print, it is not cleared, baggage is not being cleared. For this example, we have fixed these values. Always security check is true. That is why it is giving back cleared always. But in real time scenario, these values will differ now. For each passenger, some might carry 2 bags, 3 bags, 4 bags, and their security check status will be different in that case. So here, if you want to ensure that we take our loop till 5 times. So here we have taken range 1 to 6. So that my loop goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 also. Or otherwise, I could have taken 0 to number of passengers. That also could have been done. So I can take range 0, comma, number of passengers. That loop also will run 5 times. But it has been taken deliberately here like this because the count has to be used here. No? Here we have used this passenger count variable. So that we can print it properly. Security check for the passenger number 1 is cleared. Security check for passenger number 2 is not cleared. So that 1 and 2 we are referring to here from these variables, looping variables. That is why it has been taken here from 1, otherwise you could have started it from 0 also. This is an exercise for you to do, looping statements. Okay, now a few more things about looping statements. Let's say this example, A stands for adult passenger, C for child and all that. Flight captains and attendants do not require to check in. In case suspicious passengers are found, need to declare an emergency. For other passengers, such as adult and children, need to proceed with a normal security check. So we have different conditions. So inside my for loop, when the passengers are coming, for all the passengers in this list, I have to I have to check some conditions. So if the passengers are flight attendants or flight captain, then no check is required. No baggage check is required for them. So when such kind of a person come, when flight attendant comes, we can say no check is required, and we need not execute the rest of the code written inside the for loop, isn't it? So for that we can write continue. Continue will skip the remaining part of the code and go for the next number A. So how it works, first of all it becomes A, then we are checking this doesn't satisfy, this doesn't satisfy, we come here, this satisfies, and it says proceed with normal security check. Now next iteration, again A, same thing happens. Now it becomes FC. When we come to FC, passenger becomes MC, this condition becomes true, no check required, and then continue with the loop. No need to execute, rest of the statements continue. My passenger value becomes C. Again, check down here. For C, it will give you this. Proceed with normal security check. My passenger value becomes FA. If it is FA, say no check required and then continue. Now, what happens when it becomes SP? For SP, what was the condition? For suspicious passengers, declare an emergency at the airport. So we are just printing there's an emergency at the airport. A suspicious passenger has been found. No need to proceed further with the loop. No need to check for the remaining passengers. This is an emergency situation. Come out of the loop and take some action. So for that, we can use break statement. Break and continue are used in other programming languages also. They have same meaning. Break is used to break the loop. Continue is used to skip the remaining part of the loop and go to the next iteration. These meanings are same. Now, when we apply, if you have nested loops, like in the previous example, here, I've come to page number 10. If I put a check here, let's say I write a break here. If security check is true, do something else, print something, and then I write a break. Here, if I write a break, this break statement will break the control from the inner for loop. This we have to remember. It does not ensures that we come out of both the loops, all three loops, four loops. No. One break will take you out of one for loop. Now, if this is an emergency situation here and you want to come out of all the loops, then again you have to put that check outside this. Here you go back. So from here you have to write it again. Again, this condition, if there's an emergency situation, break. Or if some variable you can assign here at this stage and check that variable here. So some Boolean logic we can apply. Pass can be used, but often you will not see pass written over here. Pass does not do anything. Pass means just time pass. Matlab, don't do anything here. Nothing has to be done here when you write pass, and you directly jump onto the next statement. So if my count is divisible by 2, then do nothing. Do nothing. Otherwise, you print the value of count is what we are trying to say. So it is, you can say, for a time lapse also, it takes, so that some time is incurred here, we write this. Again, this is exercise, 5 questions are there, you can take it up, quiz. Let's move on to functions in Python. Functions enhances the readability of your code. Instead of writing the whole code one after the another, when we put it in functions, we can call them so that we can enhance the readability of the code and reusability of the code so that it can be reused at later point of a time. You declare a code once, and then call it as many times as you want. How do we do that? Let's check this function. So my objective is here is to add two numbers, adding two numbers. But it might be possible, it might be that a case that repeated number of times I will supply two numbers, it has to give addition of those two numbers. As in calculator you do, let's say you are developing a calculator applications, the user is keep on supplying two numbers and it has to give in the result. Why to write that again and again, those lines a plus b, c plus d, e plus f? Instead of that, we can put those two lines in the function and name that function. So calculate underscore sum here is the name of the function. Two parameters we supply here, do something, and then we have to return that value from this function here. Now, how do we call it? We simply write the name of the function and we supply the input parameters here. These parameters or arguments which you supply here will be going here in data 1 and data 2. So data 1 becomes 10, data 2 becomes 20, and then it gives you 10 plus 20, 30. So it returns 30. That 30 gets stored in the result and then it is printed. This is how it works, a function, and it is preceded by DEF. This is a keyword here. DEF stands for define a function. So we have defined a function and we have seen how to use this function. This is an example. You can observe what is happening here. You ignore these lines. Observe 1, observe 4, observe 5. They are just like comments. Treat them as comments, nothing specifically to do with the code, actual code. See, some functionality is written in this function, passport check. We are not looking at it. We'll go from the function call. What will happen when I'm calling this function passport check? I've supplied a value, some value here. This value goes to the passport number. Now, it is checked. Length of the passport number is equal to 8. Is it 8? Yes, it is 8. Okay. If it is 8, then check if the first character is greater than equal to A and the first character is less than equal to Z. What am I checking here? If it is a alphabet in uppercase. So that's what we are checking here. These validations are very important in programming. At times you'll see this, how to validate passwords, how to validate phone numbers. So at during the login time, they play a crucial role for validation, data validation. So here we are checking whether the first character lies within character, capital letters A to Z, then status becomes valid, else it becomes invalid. That's what we are doing here. So for each passenger or each flight, we have to do that. So why should I keep on writing this logic again and again? Make a function passport check and just give it a call. Check whether this passport number is valid or not. That can be done here. This is a way of referring to the first character. See, passport number is a string. This is a string, na? And passport number, when we write it this way, this is index 0. What is there at index 0? In programming, indexes starts from 0. So, string. Yeah, I think in initial pages you will find how strings are stored. This is index 0. Strings or arrays or lists, they start from index 0. So this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So when you write passport number 0, it means you are referring to M here. Passport number 1, you are referring to first 9 here, and so on. Yes, yes. Now, there are different ways how functions can be handled or called. Now, when we are writing return a result, there is a function is doing something, we are not bothered about that. Return the result. Now, when we call this function, the result is returned here. This function arg1 is replaced by the result. But you didn't do anything with this. You neither printed this, you neither stored it in an argument, so this value will get lost. Function invocation will happen if you have any print statement here. You put any print statement here and check, those will be executed. But after coming here, this result value is not being used. So we have to ensure that this result is stored somehow or printed directly somehow. How we can do that? So this result, you have to put it in some variable res and then use it down further in the functionality or directly print it. So put the function call directly in the print statement, whatever value will be returned in the result will be directly printed here. Or another way of using it is we can use it in the if statement directly. If function argument 1, what does it mean? If I'm returning, let's say a true here, maybe a boolean value I was returning here, true. I'm checking is let's say my function is prime. I supply a number and I'm checking if my number is prime or not. So it found number is prime, it has returned true. So here I'm directly checking. If true, then do something. If the number is prime, do something. So instead of writing the functionality here, we have put it in the method. These are different ways. Here only thing code number 2, 3, 4 are correct. Code number 1 we have to be careful. The value will get lost. Exercise for you to do. Now, pass by value, pass by reference. There are two ways in which arguments or the values are passed to the functions. One is passed by value, the other one is passed by reference. There are two types of data in Python, mutable data and immutable data. Like we have seen strings. Strings are immutable. Strings cannot be changed. Once you have declared a string, let's say I have declared a is equal to a string PAN. You cannot go and start writing A0 is equal to C. This is not allowed because strings are immutable. Once you have declared a string, you cannot change them. Okay, so there are immutable data types, but we do have mutable data types also, like list. List is mutable, dictionaries are mutable, which means you can change their values. Once you have declared them, assigned them, you can expand the list, you can change their values. So mutable data types are always passed by reference, whereas immutable data types are passed by value here. So pass by value, we have already seen an example. What happens when we call a function by value? The value is passed. So quickly we can have a check here. We'll start, see this is a function. I'm not starting from function because my control has to start from here. Number is becomes 10. Before function call print the value, it will print 10. Now we are calling the function, change the value of a number. So this number 10 is passed here. It is copied to the formal argument 30. So my ARG becomes 30. I'm now doing 30 plus 20, that is 50. When you print it here, it prints what? 50. Your ARG becomes 50. Okay, now you come back and you ask, after the function call, what is the value of num? It still remains 10. Because this value is not modified, this variable num, the value in this variable gets copied to another variable arg. They are not pointing to the same memory location. This is pass by value, but in pass by reference they will point to the same memory location. So how do they point to the same memory location? Now, lists, when we talk about lists, lists are mutable. You can change their values. So here we have declared a list which has only one value, 10. Only one number in the list, which is 10. Print the list, it will give you 10. Call this function, and then here what we are seeing, see this num is a list. This is the num is pointing to, this is my num. This is my num memory location. Earlier it was 10, but when I passed this num to ARG started pointing to num. ARG also started pointing to num. So when I said ARG plus equal to 20, it means add to the same list, add to the same memory location. So that is how it became 10 plus 20. So not 10 plus 20, 10 and 20. Two things now we can see in the same list. You come out of the function call and now print the value of num, it will give you the same thing. You print ARG, it gives you 1020. You print num, it gives you 1020. Because the modification has happened on the same memory location. This is called pass by reference. We pass the address of variable num to ARG. So ARG also started pointing to the memory address of NUM, and all the changes happened in the same memory location. So immutable data types, like if you pass integer values, double values, float values, they are all happening by pass by value. But when you talk about lists, dictionaries, there it will follow pass by reference automatically. It's only the concept. It's not that we can pass integers by reference method. Same thing, you can copy the code and try out here. You can check. Now, how can you, different ways of calling a function. So here you can check there are 4 ways of calling a function. One is if you have 2 formal arguments. These are formal arguments, these are actual arguments which you write while calling a function. So your actual arguments gets copied to the formal arguments. Value 1 is copied to arg1, value 2 is copied to arg2. Here in this particular case, this is traditional method. So position wise, they will be copied. Another way is we can make use of the formal argument which you have written. So how do we do that? My argument 2. So here we are changing the order. If you know what are the names of the formal arguments, then use the names here and you can switch the order also. If you don't know the names, then one after the another you have to supply. Now, if you want to supply any default value, let's say, so there it can be done in the formal arguments. arg1 value will supply at runtime when we'll call the function, and arg2 is take a default value for argument 2. So if you call function value 1, it will supply this value to arg1 and default value will be taken for arg2. But if you have some value, that can also be done. So you can write value 1 comma 3. So this 3 will get copied to arg2. If you do not supply, then the default value will be taken here. Default has to be the last in the order. That also we have to keep in mind. Here, if you have more than one multiple arguments, you have like lists and all, that can be represented using asterisk sign here. See, default value 1 is, let's say I have written func1 3. The default value assigned means this arg1 and arg2, this function expects 2 values, arg1 and arg2. At runtime, you supplied only one value, that is 4. So arg1 will become 4, arg2 will become the default value. Let's say the default value is 0. So the function call will use 4 comma 0. But now let's say I have called a function 4 comma 2. If I write function 4 comma 2, then arg1 will become 4, arg2 will become 2. So if you supply the second value, arg2 will become that. If you do not supply the second value, then a default value which you have supplied here at the time of declaration of this function, that will be taken as the default value for arg2. So if you want your Python to take variable number of arguments more than one, then that can be done using asterisk. That is the fourth one. Variable argument count can be taken using asterisk sign. So what will happen here? Just look at the function call. Value 1, value 2. So the first two will go as it is to arg1 and arg2. Remaining will go as a tuple or a list. It goes as a tuple into arg3 variable. It goes as a tuple in arg3. A tuple is a type of a list which is immutable. It's a collection of elements. These are different ways of calling a function. So directly when you call, it follows positional behavior. So let's say I write here, okay, let me delete this. If you write, if I supply here 5 comma 6, then 5 will be copied to arg1, 6 will be copied to arg2. There's no interchange, fixed values, positional arguments. If you want to change it, or you want to use only one or two of the, maybe I am not worried about arg1, or I just want to supply arg2. So arg2 is equal to val2. So whatever, let's say now I supply 5 and 6 here. So arg2 will become 5 here. This 5 will be copied to this arg2. and this 6 will be copied to ARG1. Okay. Default, we have already seen default value will be taken if you do not supply any value for ARG2. Here in the last case, if you supply a group of values, more than one value, if you supply, that will be stored in the variable named as ARG3 as a tuple, as a collection. So ARG3 is val3, val4, val5. Okay, so the previous page is explained here. You can run this code one by one and then see code one, code two, do it one by one. So first of all, you copy this part only, then check what is happening, then go for code two and you can play with this. Now, scope of the variables, wherever you declare the variables, there only it can be used. Like I have declared a variable extra baggage charge here. So I can use it inside the function baggage check only because I have declared it inside this function. So it can be used here. It can be extra baggage charge can be used within the function. It cannot be used up in another function, or this extra baggage charge cannot be used outside also. Its scope is limited to where you have declared this. Similarly, weight limit. Okay, now coming to this variable weight limit. Weight limit, you can see I have declared it on top. If I declare it on top, it becomes a global variable. Now, global variables, when you use them inside a function like this, it becomes a local variable. So we have not yet ensured that this variable is a global variable. There's a twist here. What we have to do is, so when you declare a global variable, directly we cannot change the value of global variable. It will not allow, it will create a new variable weight limit and assign new weight limit to this weight limit. Okay, how you have to do, we'll see. We have to just add this word here. If you want to ensure that the actual changes happen in this variable weight limit, then before making any change to the global variable, say that it is a global variable. That's it. This one step we have to do. Otherwise, wherever you declare, variables can be used there itself, not outside. This is applicable for if also, this is applicable for also. See, whatever 3, 4, 5 statements you write under for, if you declare a variable there, so that variable will be used there only. You cannot use it outside the for loop. We were talking about lists and tuples. Let's see what they are. So we'll start with the lists. Lists is collection of items. Collection of items. Items can be homogeneous. Homogeneous means same data type, or items can be different data types. So here, for now, we are assuming that we have a list of ticket numbers. So instead of let's say in a day 30 40 tickets are generated, so instead of having a separate variable name for ticket number 1, ticket number 2, 3 and so on, what we can do is we can create a list so that it becomes easy for us to remember their names and refer to them. Advantages of list is they are stored at contiguous memory locations, one after the another. So first of all, the first number will be stored soon after the another number will be stored. If I take them as separate variable, they will be stored somewhere or the other in the memory, not one after the another in the memory locations. So it becomes easy to refer to numbers when we take them as lists. Okay, so this is ticket number 1, variables. Now, how do we index to it? Indexes start from 0 as in strings. Indexes start from 0. Here also it starts from 0. So these are my elements. If I want to refer to the first ticket number, how can I say that? I will say ticket list 0. Ticket list, square brackets, 0. If I want to refer to the last one, I'll say ticket list, square bracket 4. This is the way. List name and then index starting from 0, that you can specify to change it or modify it directly. If you say ticket list 5, so index 5 doesn't exist, it will say index out of bounds exception, it will give you. It is out of range. Some examples are given over here. How can we create a list? This is creating an empty list. Now, some filled list. See, heterogeneous list. Elements of different types. String is there, integer is there. So, lists can hold elements of different data types also. If you do not know, if you want to create a list whose size is not known, whose size is known, but you do not know what is an element, what are the elements. You want to create an empty list of size 5, then we can follow this. None into 5. If you want to find the length of the list, how many elements are there in the list? len, use len function. Randomly, if you want to refer to a element in the list, that can be done using simply list name, and then so this will print 0, 1, 2, third element. This will print third element in the list. Random read. Randomly you can write also, because lists are mutable. You can change them. You can change their values. List can be appended also. You can increase their size as well. You can change them, and you can enhance them as well using append function. So when we write append James, so to the existing list, this last James is added. So they can grow dynamically. How do we combine two lists? Here we have declared one list, that is new list. Now, sample list was already there with us. This was the sample list which you created here. To the existing sample list, I want to add two names, that is Henry and Tim. So I stored Henry and Tim in one list, and then we have written existing sample list plus equal to new list. Now, this is something important for you to note. There are two ways of doing this. Instead of shortened operator, if you use this way, then it will create a new sample list. It will not point to the existing sample list. Existing sample list will not change. That will remain same. So if you want to make changes in the same sample list, then we have to use shortened operator only. Now, how do we pick up a portion of the list? Let's see. So the one element, if I have to refer to, then I can say this is what's the name? Okay, list of airlines. See, look at this. When we write list of airlines -2, that means what will get printed? Indexes can be negative or positive also. So in positive indexes starts from 0, negative index you can see here from the backside -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So if I say list of airlines -2, it means it will print AL4. It will print AL4. If I say -5, it gives me AL1, one element at a time. So it's same. If I write list of index 0, list of airlines 0 also gives you AL1, list of airlines -5 also gives you AL1. Okay, if you want to print a portion, if you want to slice it, then we can use colon operator in between. So when we say list of airlines 1:4, it means starting from 1th index, it will print till 3. Again, -1 logic here. Fourth will not get printed. Fourth index will not get printed. It will give you 1, 2, 3. That means AL2, AL3, AL4. This statement will give you AL2, 3, 4. Negative also can be done. To print AL234, either I can write list of airlines 1 to 4, 1:4, or I could have written -4 colon -4 colon -1. So it will take you from -4 to -2 this way. List of airlines -4 colon -1 can also be used. Guys, I know I am hurrying up a lot actually, because this is a very small session. You have to excuse me for this. We have a lot to finish in this course. I just wanted to walk you through all the elements so that you can revise each and everything. In case you have a doubt, we'll meet in the next session. There you can check your doubts. So when you will read it yourself, then you will you'll feel comfortable with all these concepts. Similar to lists, we have collections. We call it tuple also. Tuples are immutable. They cannot be changed. Their values cannot be changed. Lists are enclosed in square bracket, and if you find a list which is enclosed in simple brackets, simple brackets means this is a tuple. They are immutable. It means you cannot change their value. Sometimes you want some fixed list. No? Let's say I have a menu in my restaurant which is fixed. Menu cannot be extended. So for that, instead of taking a list, we can take a tuple. We can declare it as tuple. Nobody should come and change my menu. Nobody should come and append my menu. Take it as tuple. It becomes immutable and changeable. So tuples can be declared similar to list with simple brackets, or without brackets also we can do, but ideally you should do with brackets. So these are different ways they have told you. This is one way, but preferably use brackets here. If you have only one element in a tuple, then it's this comma you have to add at the end. Now, when we do a random writing, I want to change the first element. See, lunch menu 0 becomes empty. It will not allow me to do because it is a tuple and they are immutable. You cannot change their values. For that reason only we have taken tuple. Now, if I want something that can be changed, I would have declared it as list. This is all about data structures. See, we are talking about different structures which can hold your data. So based on requirements, these things can be decided. Whether you want to store your data in a tuple or you want to store it in a list or dictionaries or strings would do. That decision has to be taken based on the data or and the requirements. Here, I was talking about this. Strings are also starting from index 0. So, string is made up of characters. It's a collection of characters starting from 0 till a number of characters minus 1. Strings are also immutable. Their values cannot be changed. You cannot go here and say, change this to 6, change this to 8. That cannot be done. Okay, you can go through this. It tells you about string concatenation, PAN plus card you are trying to do. Now, how do you print each character off within the PAN card? You can iterate over the string using range function, range 0 to length of the PAN card number you can do to do this. Iterating using in keyword, how to do that. Checking if a particular character exists in the PAN card number or not can be done, that you can check here. Okay, immutable you can check here. This is another data structure. We have seen a tuple, list, strings, and this is the fourth one, that is set. So collection of items can be stored in the set as well. Set uh, properties of sets will be similar to as we studied in mathematics. Sets will not allow duplicate elements to be stored. If you declare them, initially it will remove duplicate elements. I have declared 600 twice, but when it is stored, it will remove the duplicate values. And then consider the flight set. So if I say this, when you try to print it, you will not find duplicate values. You can supply it at the time of declaration, but automatically it will be deleted from the set. Lists can allow duplicate values, but set will not allow. So let's say you have a list and you do not want duplicate values in the list, but list allows duplicate values. So a list can be converted to set. When you convert a list to set, it will remove the duplicate values automatically. Instead of you sitting and writing the whole code, check whether George is equal to Annie, Jack, what are the repetitions. This becomes a whole big logic to implement if you start doing it manually. But here we do have, so understanding of data structures is equally important. We have a ready-made function set which declares a set, and this is a property of the set that it does not allow duplicate values. So convert it to set. Supply this passenger list convert it to a set. So it becomes a set, it will remove duplicate elements. Common elements between both the sets, you can use AND operator. If you want only do A minus B will give you elements which are unique in A. So the common elements in both the A and B will be removed. B minus A will give you unique elements in B. If you want to merge both the set, then you can use the single bar. After merging, also duplicates will be removed. Another collection we have is dictionary. In dictionary, values are stored in the form of key value pairs. So you can maybe what we'll do is I'll show you on this once. I think we'll have a tryout at later point of time. I'll show you the tryout for this. Don't worry. So dictionaries can be declared using curly brackets with a key value pair. See, if you supply values one after the another, like a list, comma separated values like this will be taken as a set. Here we have not told whether it is a set or not. How does my Python compiler knows that it is a set? Because you have put curly brackets and all the elements are followed by a comma. So it knows that it is a set. Now dictionaries in curly bracket, you have to give key value pairs separated by commas. So when you give key value pairs, then it understands that it is a dictionary. So key value pairs means key, let's say pilot is Kumar, co-pilot is Raghav, head stewardess is Malini, stewardess is Mala. Now you can keep on adding more details. Again, pilot is so and so, co-pilot is so and so. So first element, first key here is pilot, first value here is Kumar, second key here is co-pilot, then value of that key co-pilot is Raghav, and so on. Now, if you want to refer to any particular value, you should know the key. If you know the key, then directly it can be printed. Name of the dictionary and put it in the double quotes. When we say pilot, it prints what? It prints Kumar. The value corresponding to the specified key is printed. So you should know what keys are there here. If you do not know what keys are there, you want to print all the values, then make use of dot items function. Dictionary dot items. And then here we have to write for every key comma value pair in my crew details, what to do, print their values, key and value. Okay, you can see this is how it gets printed because I have supplied a colon here. So for every key value pair, this is the key, this is the value. So dot items function allow you to iterate over the dictionary. So this we have to remember, the name of the function. It prints the key and its value, key and its value. Dictionaries are mutable, it can be changed. Their values can be changed. Exercises for you, collections, quiz. Now, how do we manage our code if we have big project? Then we, to enhance the readability of the code, we have to organize it into files. files and folders. So how do we manage that? You can create folders. Let's say you pick up your Python, in your Python folder, create two folders named as flights and employees. These are called packages. So these folders which we'll create are called packages. A package should contain a file which is called as init.py file should be there in a package. Then it becomes a package. Otherwise, it is your normal Windows folder. So in order to declare a Python package, it should have this init.py file. So it can have a package can have modules and files, multiple files within it. So here, this hierarchy shows you, asks you to create two folders, flights and employees, and create these two files, init.py file and manageflights.py file. Inside this, similarly in employees, we have to create two files. Okay, now I have already created these files. So this is my Python folder. In my Python folder, I have, see, employees folder. In my employees folder, I have created two files. This is my init.py file. Init.py file will have a reference to your function which you have created. So it should have that the functionality. My actual functionality is here in add employees method. So this is a separate file, add employees. So here, employees, manage flights, and init.py. Two files I've created. So name of my file is not manage employees, it is add employees. Don't get confused here. So I have put the code here. Code is also there on the next page. You can pick up this code. Manage flights.py code is this. Employee code is also given. So you just have to copy paste the code and bring it here. So this is my add employee file. If I go back, I have a flights package, I have init.py file, and I have add flights file as well. So I have put copy pasted that code here. Okay. So this is ready. This structure is ready with me. I have these files. Now what I'm doing in these files, that also you can see. When I call this function add and supply some value number of flights, let's say 3, it should say 3 flights to be added. 3 flights to be added. Similarly, when I call this function number of employees, it should say 2 employees added, 5 employees added. That's it. To be very simple, just to show you how functionalities can be called within another module, how functionality declared in a module can be called within another module. This is what we are doing. Now let's come to, see, I have come out now. If you look at my structure, my flights folder only had two files, init and add flights. Similarly, my employees folder had two files, init files and add employee file, nothing else. And this file, introduction to Python, is a separate file which is outside these two modules. Okay, so now from outside, if you want to call these two functions, how do we do that? That is what we are learning here. Create a file outside these two folders and then check. So there are different ways of calling the modules, calling the functions which are there within the modules. These different ways are discussed in the next page. Now once you have declared your folder, you are ready with your folder, then imports can be done in multiple ways. One way is you can write from the flights package, import the module manage flights. So from the package name, import module name. This is one way. So what will happen? Only one module will be imported. That is manage flights. If you have any other module in the flights package, that will not be imported. Any other file, not imported. Only this particular manage flights uh, module will be imported for you. Now you can go and write, this is the class name, manage flights dot add 10. So this will give you 10 flights added. This should give you 10 flights added. Just a minute. Okay, so just look at this execution. I'll show you in the Jupyter Lab window. The other way of importing is we can write package name dot module name. This can also be done. There are multiple ways of importing. Bringing you back to the Jupyter screen, let's say. So here, this is one way, package name dot module name. This can be done, or what we can do is from the package name, import only this particular module and rename it as F, because this name can be big. I might forget this name. Maybe 100 times in my code. Next, I want to make use of this add flights. So I have renamed it as F. That's it. As F. So from my flights package, import the module add flights and rename it as F. That's it. Now let's run it and see. I have executed, nothing will happen because this is just importing. Importing will ensure that now you're able to use these functionalities in your code. My add flights, let's see what is there. Add flights module has one function add which takes one parameter number of flights. Come back here. So I'm calling now f dot add 3. When you run it, it should say 3 flights to be added, whatever was there inside. Similarly, employees. So when we say e dot add 20, it says 20 employees added because that's what we have implemented there. No? You can keep on changing these implementations. Accordingly, you can do that. This is just to show you how it works, how it can be called. Now, if you do not do this way, import this particular thing, then what I was supposed to do here, this whole thing I had to write flights.add 3. So this has to be a place. Again, we have to write such a big thing. To avoid that, we should go this way. As you can see here, it is written here. If you are opting for this option, then we have to write it full. Now, what if you have functions with same name in the different folders, in the different files? Then we can rename those functionalities. As I have done, see here, my add flights and add employees both had function with the same name, that is add add. So renaming was helping me here. So rename it as F and E, two different names. So F will refer to the add function of add flights. E will refer to the add functions of employee flight. This is another way you can do from flights.manage directly. You import the function. There are three things. One is package. This is your module. Inside the module, we have functions. So here now we are directly importing the function and just call it. No need to say manage.flights.manage. No, directly call the function. Because you have renamed it as add one, say add one. This is important here because when you say import add, currently in your program you have two adds. Compiler will get confused. So this conflict resolution was important here. Here the resolution was happening with the name, F name, E name. They are pointing to two different things. So we have predefined modules. See, these were the modules we learned how to create our own modules. Our module manage flights, manage employees, and all that. But we do have predefined modules and lots of libraries in Python. So how can we use them? Using import, we can call them using import. So if you want to create random numbers, like random is one module which you can import by writing import random, and randrange is a function, rand range, rand int. These are the functions of random module. So if you want to print any random number between 10 to 50, you can use this. There's a math module. You can import this math module to find some mathematical operations if you want to do, like ceiling, floor of a number, factorial of a number, absolute value of a number. Import the math module and then you can write math.ceil56. So here explanation is given with the tryout and code. This you can try all by yourself. These are different string functions and what do they do? So string, this is a string name. Dot count will count the occurrences of small a. Replace will replace a character by another. Find will find the character and return its index, first index position. This starts with check whether your string starts with RA, ends with checks whether your string ends with HA. Is digit checks whether your string is a digit, upper checks whether it is an uppercase, lower checks for lowercase. Split is important. Split splits your string based on the delimiter which you provide inside. So here we have supplied small a. So Raghav, I think, is the name. Raghav will be splitted. Your string will be splitted and it will be converted to a list. So R becomes one element, GH becomes one element, V becomes one element. This function is helpful when we have a sentence and let's say we have to count number of words or we have to count number of vowels in each words. For those type of implementations, this split function is very useful to split your sentence in words. Yes, yes, they are case sensitive. All these functions are case sensitive. Same thing you can try out here. Similarly, see, we have functions related to lists. We have predefined functionalities. We just need to know what do they do. Append will add the item to the existing list. Index of 10 will give you the index, first index position of the element 10 in the list, that is 0. Insert will insert a number 60 at position 3, at index 3. Okay. At third position, this 60 will get inserted. Pop behaves like it will pop the topmost element from the list. Pop 3 means this index position 3, but take it out from the list. So the element at this particular index will be popped out of the list. At index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 is 40. So 40 will be popped out and printed. Remove it from the list, removes the first occurring element whose value is 30. So it removes 30 from the list. Sort, directly we have a sort function. We need not implement sorting. So when you write list.sort, it will sort it in the ascending order. And we can use the list.reverse function to reverse the list. So you can try all these functions. This is the tryout for dictionary which we were trying to do. So here you can see this is a dictionary. Same example has been taken here. So before update, you print the value of copilot. It will give you Raghav. Now here we are calling a function update. So this is a dictionary function. So crew details dot update, replace flight attendant Jane and co-pilot is Henry. So what does this update function do? If a key exists, if co-pilot exists, yes, co-pilot exists in my current dictionary, so it will be changed. Raghav will be replaced by Henry. If the key doesn't exist, so flight attendant, is there a key named as flight attendant? No, it will be added. So after update, when you print, you will see pilot Kumar, co-pilot Henry, head stewardess Malini, stewardess Mala, flight attendant Jane. So update function adds a particular item to the dictionary if it is not there and replace if it is there. Get will give you the value corresponding to the pilot, update as I explained. Regular expressions are used for pattern matching. Let's say I have supplied a password. So for passwords, generally we use regular expressions to check whether the password, your supplied password meets the criteria. It should be all characters. It should not have special characters. It should not start with numbers. To do all those things, to do all those validations. See, if these validations are very simple, like we have seen now, the first character of my passport number should be A to Z. Those simple things we can do with programs, but if we have complicated things that can be done super easily within very less lines of code using regular expressions. So we'll see a few examples how it can be done here. I'm jumping on to the example because it's easy to understand with example here. See, you have to import this package RE, which stands for regular expression, and there's a function search. which searches for a pattern in the existing text. So here what we are doing, we are searching for exact case sensitive AIR in airline. If airline contains this AIR, yes, it contains, this becomes true, so it will give you pattern found. Otherwise, it would have given you pattern not found. Like in the second example, you can see my A is starting in a small letter now, and it will say pattern not found. R stands for the raw string here. Adding R is important. For this example, it is not important. You can remove it and see, it will not matter here. But sometimes we have some special characters. Let's say I have to check whether my URL is valid or not. So in URLs, you have colon, you have backslashes, which have a predefined meaning. Those characters have specific meanings for regular expressions or Java. So when you want to say treat them raw, treat them as it is, then this R is written so that the URL which you have written can be taken as it is, and the backslashes and colons there should not be treated as special characters. Now here we have multiple examples to check for it. So we have meta characters which have predefined meanings. What do these meta characters do? Let's see. Keep on looking at the solution section. Here, examples we'll see. This column only. You keep your eyes on this column. We'll go through it. If you want to check whether exactly two characters appear between A and L, exactly two characters, any two characters appear between A and L, then we can put two dots. So dots will be replaced by any characters, A dot dot L. So it will ensure that two characters appear. So AOPL, it satisfies, it will say yes, pattern found. If it has exact, if assume P is not there, then it will say pattern not found. If OP is not there, it will say pattern not found. If there are three characters in between, it will say pattern not found. Okay, you can check all these possibilities. Now, if you want to ensure that a number, exactly one digit appears between A and L, that can be checked using /d. So when we write /d between A and L, it will ensure that any one digit from 0 to 9 should appear between A to L. So you replace this 2 with 0, 2, 9, anything, and then check whether it is working or not. Replace it with character A, B, C, D, and then check what is happening. To check for a single digit between something, /d can be used. Now, 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, I'm jumping. I'll come back to the remaining. If you want to check for space between, after, before, that can be done using /s. So if I want to check whether there's a space after AIR, so write AIR, give a \s, it will check whether there's a space after AIR. In our current example, is there a space after AIR? No, it will say pattern not found. So space can be a single space, multiple spaces, /t or /n. /t is tab space, /n is multiple line space. Okay. Single bar is used for or. So it is checking whether my string contains either this or this. Then it will return pattern found, otherwise not. So fellow contains FELL, so it will give you pattern found. If you want to check, okay, I'm coming back to this now. /d we have seen, asterisk. Now, if you want to ensure that one or zero or more numbers should be there after A. Zero or more numbers should be there after A. So write A, and after that numbers should be there. To ensure zero or more, you can make use of asterisk. So this asterisk ensure that previous character should appear zero or more times. Okay, so here in our current example, A, 2, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times it is appearing. 4 times the digit is appearing after A. It gives you pattern found. You write A2 line, only A2 line. It will give you pattern found, 0 or more. You remove all of them, all these, and then say A line. Then also it gives you pattern found. Why? Because asterisk says 0 or more characters after A. So digits, 0 or more digits after A. So 0 digits can also be there. 0 number of digits can be there after A also. Now, I am focusing on this because there are variations on this. If you want to ensure only 0 or 1 digit should be there, then go for question mark. Question mark ensures zero, either a 0 digit between A and I or exactly 1 digit between A and I. If you want one or more digit, then go for plus. One or more digit after A, go for plus. So asterisk is 0 or more, plus is 1 or more, question mark is 0 or 1, exactly 0 or 1 digit. Now, if you know how many, exactly 3 digits I'm expecting after A, between A and I, then write that in curly brackets like this. Exactly 3 digits. Why I'm saying digits? Because this is there. So this ensures that whatever was there previously, that is previously I had a digit, that should repeat exactly 3 times. It doesn't mean that a digit which has started coming should only repeat, 2 should come. No. Any digit should appear 3 times. At least 3 digits should be there between A and I. Okay. Square bracket will ensure that any digit between 4 to 8 should appear here between A and I. This inverted cap, this cap symbol ensures that your pattern, your string starts with the specified pattern. So it is, we are checking my string airline should start with A. So for ending, you have to put dollar symbol. So here we are checking whether airline ends with E, small e. Now, if you want to check for any character between small a to z, capital A to z, digit 0 to 9 and underscore, then you can go for this /w. So here we are checking whether my string airline percentile, it ends with any of these things, any of the characters which satisfy the /w bucket. That is A to Z, digit 0 to 9 and underscore. So what will I get in this case? My last character is percentile. It does not lie within this, so it will say pattern not found. If you want to do some replacements, find and do some replacements, then you can go for substitution function denoted by sub. So what it will do, it will find the first pattern, replace it with second in this string. Find flight, replace it with plane in flight details. So flight Savannah Airlines, it will be replaced by plane Savannah Airlines. So wherever flight is there, it will replaced by plane. So sub is for substitution. Search was for searching, re.search was for searching, re.sub is for substitution.
Sonam, are we done with the content?
Yeah, just give me 2 more minutes. I'll show them how files are handled. I'll take them to
Okay.
1 minute.
Meanwhile, I'll just put the link for introduction to Python once again. I request all of you to please complete this particular course.
Okay, now let's say you have a file. You want to open a file, print it here in Python. So how we can do that? We have a function called open. So we can make use of this open function. We can supply the path. Exact path has to be supplied. Okay, I have this file sample1 and I have supplied the exact path here. And see, now my path or URL will have backslashes. Backslashes are escape characters. They have different meaning in programming languages. So here this R will matter. This R will ensure that whatever special characters are there inside my string will be treated as it is. Okay, so I'm opening this file in the read mode. There are three modes: read mode, write mode, append mode. So read mode will open my file in the read mode, and we have different functions to read through the content of the files. Like I have a read function, read line function, third is read lines function. So read function, we'll see them one by one. Let's see what read line function do. Read line, as it says, will read one line. So I'm saying file1 dot read the line, put it in the data, and then we are printing it. Let's see. It prints new line 1. Again, I'm executing the same statement. It takes another line, new line number 2. Next line, appending line number 1. Next line, appending line number 2. Appending line number 1. Appending line number 2. Last, end. So now again, if I do, it will not give me anything because it has exhausted. My file has ended. I have to open it again to do this. Open it again and then see. First is new line number 1. Then I have new line number 2. So all this content is there one after the another in my file, and I'm displaying it line by line.